How old is this dictionary?
Usu? Is there a dot after
Yeah,
usu?
usu. What does that mean?
It's like usage or something? I don't know, yeah.
It's like for usage, like, it's like... What,
does it seem like it's part of a sentence or not?
It's until they form a brown cake called also hashed brown potatoes, hashed brown potatoes, hashed browns, Hashemite,
right?
Grandfather Muhammad, a member of the Arab family having a common ancestry with Muhammad, and focusing dynasties in countries.
The proper nouns aren't good. You gotta do non-proper.
Oh, hassle.
You gotta do some adjectives or something.
No, adjective. Wait, harvest fly. That's yeah.
Try to get an adjective.
Let me find one. Haunter.
One who haunts.
Hausa, the Chadic language of the Hausa people, widely used in
Nigeria. Yeah.
Hawkweed. Come as a plant.
Try to find any adjective. There's probably a lot on any of the pages.
Okay.
You don't need to turn the page.
Hefty. Quite heavy. Marked by bigness, bulk, and usu again, so strength. A football player.
You don't say usu. That's not part of it. I think you just don't read that word. Okay. That's a word for inside your head.
Okay, I see. Headless. Not
possessing
heedless.
of a head. Oh.
Heedless. Not taking heed. Inconsiderate. Thoughtless.
Right.
Follies of unbridled youth. And then it says that, so by John De Bruyne. Heedlessness.
Yeah.
And then this one's not an adjective, but hee-haw, the bray of a donkey. A loud, rude laugh.
Yeah.
Guffaw. Hee-haw.
Nothing really groundbreaking. You haven't really blown my mind.
I know, I'm trying to blow your mind. Wait.
It really hasn't happened.
Wait, let me just go where I feel like...
I think the H's were good, man. I kind of set you up for success with the H's, TBH.
I got one. Hackneyed. Hackney. Kept for public hire.
Yeah. That's like... Hackney is just like bad.
Had it.
Bad idea. What's it mean?
Wait, that's a noun, I think.
Hackneyed is like...
Hackney coach. A coach kept for hire. A four-wheeled carriage.
What does it mean as an adjective?
Hackney. It means a kept for public hire. Hackneyed.
Yeah, but it means like shitty.
Oh, Hackney.
No.
Mid.
None of it. It's only about like coachman. That's the only usage you can find for hackney.
Done or suitable for doing by a droge.
A droge?
Hackney.
What's a droge? What word do you say?
Kept for public hire. Hackneyed.
Alright, you're done. Let me look.
Okay, it's the first one. So it's like a hackney job, like I guess the ditch.
That's what I'm saying. It's bad. That's the only way I know, and it doesn't even mention that. Okay, you're on the second one. Go to this page before. Okay, this is what I'm thinking of. A horse suitable for ordinary riding or driving. It's all about horses still. Fuck.
Horses.
It's all horse related. Trotting horse. A carriage kept for hire. Okay. Oh, this one. Yeah. To make trite, vulgar, or commonplace. To make sophisticated or jaded. Hackneyed. That one.
Okay.
Lacking in freshness or originality. That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one I know. Lacking in freshness or originality.
Well, can you do one? Go on the other side. Find another one.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure. Easy.
Give me examples of ones that you enjoy.
I don't know. They're really bad. I'm mostly just critical. Let's see. Halation.
Halation.
H-A-L-A.
May I ask a question about the structure, or will that be up?
What do you mean?
Can we interject?
H-L-lation. L-A-lation. Like nation. What do you want to know about it?
Halation. Is it an adjective you said?
It's a noun.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's like, okay, I see. Yes,
Halation.
Yes. Okay.
No guesses? Any guesses about... It's a bright ring that sometimes surrounds a bright object on a television screen. The spreading of light beyond its proper boundaries in a developed photographic image.
Huh.
Halberd.
Halberd, I know what
You
that
know
is.
halberd. What's a halberd?
It's like a specific pole arm that has like that like weird axe thing at it, and then a spear, right?
It's a weapon, especially of the 15th and 16th centuries, consisting typically of a battle axe and pike mounted on a handle about 6 feet long.
Oh, that makes sense, you know? Like
You got it
get
right.
2 for 1. Yeah.
Halcyon.
It is the same thing in D&D with the fucking spear, I think.
Yeah, it's just a big
form.
It's a long axe.
Long axe.
Halcyon.
Halcyon?
Classic.
Halcyon?
Classic word that people say sometimes.
I don't know if I say it.
People go, oh, it was the Halcyon days, you know.
I feel like I've heard it in like a Doors song, maybe. Halcyon House,
It's,
maybe.
of relating to... So the first one, which is not what I'm thinking of, it's a bird identified with the kingfisher and held in ancient legend to nest at sea about the time of the winter solstice and to calm the waves during incubation.
So it's a mythical creature?
That's the first definition.
Okay.
So that's the main one I'm covering. But then the main one people use is calm, peaceful, happy, golden period, prosperous, affluent.
Oh, okay.
Halcyon.
Wait, I want to see there's a Doors song by it, but that's interesting.
Halcyon door song.
It's not. Is that how you say it? Halcyon House?
Where is it? That's hyacinth.
Oh, I'm so fucking.
That's a different flower. That's a flower, not an ancient bird. That's not an ancient mythical bird.
Sounds good. That's cool. So, do another? Or can I do one?
No, you. Let me find some good ones. This is all just half stuff now.
Halfling? Is Halfling on there, or is that not a one?
I don't know. I'm not looking over there. Ooh. Hadron?
Hedron?
Hadron. Like a Hadron Collider.
It's like a science part?
It's a science thing, yeah.
What does it do?
It's any of the subatomic particles that are made up of quarks and are subject to the strong force.
Okay.
Hadron. They have the big Hadron Collider underground where they ram the things into each other.
It's involved with quartz as well? Or?
Quarks.
Oh, quartz, okay.
Quarks.
Yeah, okay.
They're like subatomic.
Yeah, particles or...
Something, yeah.
There's a good Treehouse... Not really a good Treehouse of Horror episode, but there's one Treehouse of Horror episode, or like short one about it.
Yeah, it's like some kind of nuclear weird thing. But I think they could open up a black hole.
Actually?
Or something. Yeah, if they do it bad.
Oh, okay. But they're always doing it, or they try to?
Haboob.
Me.
Haboob.
Yeah.
What is a haboob?
Me?
It's a noun.
It's like a silly person, a buffoon?
No.
What is it?
It's a violent dust storm or sandstorm, especially in Sudan.
What is it? Is it just a word they use a lot?
Yeah, the haboob.
Okay.
A big haboob comes around.
Oh,
That's
wow.
a good word.
That's a good word.
Haboob is a good word.
You're better at searching than I am. That's why I don't use all the
Haboob is a good word.
That's why I don't use all the D&D stuff when I'm doing it. I'll get too lost in the sauce.
You gotta practice. This is practice.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You gotta. But you could only get good at it.
Yeah, by doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what? You should have my brother come. He's got all these old D&D books.
Whoa.
He's got like gods and gods and demigods. He got the first OD&D like 1978 one.
Whoa.
A bunch of really old stuff that's like worth a lot of money, honestly.
Dang. Hard Scrabble.
Hard Scrabble?
Yeah.
Man, I feel dumb, but
Hard Scrabble.
it's like I don't even know what that would be actually.
It's a being of or relating to a place of barren or barely arable soil.
Okay.
A hard Scrabble farm. Hard Scrabble prairies.
Okay, I have heard that.
Getting a meager living from poor soil. A hard Scrabble farmer. Marked by poverty. A hard Scrabble cotton town. A hard Scrabble childhood. Stuff
I like that word.
It's a good one. Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's
yeah.
good for hard scrabbling. It's kind of a word that they would use like to describe a politician or something who's like evil or something.
I've heard it
like he actually had sort of a hard scrabble childhood.
I feel like my brother uses that a lot in like D&D. Like he'll look at this. It's for you think if I got 100 speech of 100 or 100 science, I can convince the computer it is a commie and destroy itself. Do you think you can?
It's Okami. What does that mean? Like the
I don't know if
the wolf god from the game Okami.
A communist.
Oh, I didn't
It's
know.
for the paranoia
that.
game. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what that is at all.
Can I explain real quick?
Sure. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
you have a note card that has things that people have written on it. Did you write it?
No, my brother did.
Okay, right.
So it's for a tabletop RPG session.
Right.
Paranoia. Everyone's in a vault.
Right.
Like an underground vault, and it's
Right.
run by a supercomputer.
Okay.
That uses this really rigorous judge system.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, no communists. These are all the rules.
Right.
And to level up, you have to, like, prove that one of your fellow players is a communist or something like
What's
that.
the card?
He was trying to, slip me the card to try to do it under the table.
And you have it saved?
I just forgot it was in there.
Where did you find it?
In these flashcards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Nice. Okay, we got a lot of books to get to. We don't have to do the dictionary all the time.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, I got the George Burns book. It's pretty good to just kind of get into. I'll do one first so you can get the style.
Okay, I see.
But some of them we've read, but I doubt. Like, I'll stop you if we've read it, but I don't think we've read that many of them. When I was 17, I started running around with a girl named... Oh, maybe I did this. I've read this exact one.
Okay. I see you made it sounds like his voice.
When I was in my early 20s, I played in Philadelphia a lot. Every time I played Philadelphia, I always stopped at a little hotel called the Hurley House. I'll never forget the Hurley House. All us small-time vaudeville actors stopped there, and there was a reason. Her name was Trixie Hicks, a very sexy waitress. Whatever you'd order, breakfast, which consisted of donuts and coffee, Trixie would bring it up to your room, and she always stayed. She loved coffee. I'm trying to keep it clean, in parentheses. Well, one morning I ordered breakfast, and when she brought it up, I said, Trixie, how about a little coffee? And she said, I'd love to. Naturally, I locked the door. I didn't want the coffee to get cold. 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the door, and that was kind of bad because I was right in the middle of my second cup. Let me tell you something. When I was in my 20s, I was good for 3 or 4 cups a night. And in the morning, I had a little demi-tasse.
Can I do one? Or is that...
Anyway, I'm still finishing it. They're not that long. Yeah. Anyway, the guy knocking on the door turned out to be Hurley, the man who owned the hotel. He hollered, "Is Trixie Hicks in there?" I got kind of panicky. I had an adjoining room with an actor named Jack Milo. So I knocked on Milo's door. Milo opened his door and I threw Trixie in. I let Hurley in. He looked around and couldn't find Trixie, so he left. Then I knocked on Milo's door. But he wouldn't give back Trixie. So I phoned downstairs to Hurley and said, if you're looking for Trixie Hicks, she's in Jack Milo's room. Hurley came up, knocked on Milo's door. Milo opened the door and threw Trixie back. But his story has a sad ending. In the meantime, my coffee got cold. I love that story. There have been many times I wished I could enjoy coffee as much as I did when I was 21. None of them have been horny like that, really. That's really the first one that's been that horny.
He sounds like a horny old man.
Yeah, he's really horny in that one. That was good.
That's fucking good.
All right, you should just go next one. We should just hit a row of them.
Okay, so it's...
Try 21, yeah, just
21. During World War I was still a small-time vaudevillian, and somehow I managed to scrap together enough money to get a ticket to a giant war bond rally at Madison Square Garden. George M. Cohan, Ed Wayne, and all the... Is that okay with the voice, or...?
I mean, you're losing some clarity, but I mean, I'm having a good time with it.
Okay.
I don't think it really matters.
Okay, so I'm just making sure, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I managed to scrap together enough money to get...
It's hard to do the voice and then be like, wait, can people understand me?
Yeah, I was like, do they know who
but
I am?
But it's tough. No, you're good.
I managed to scrap together enough money to get a ticket to a giant war bond rally at Madison Square Garden.
But that is exactly how he sounds, ironically.
George
Because he smokes like cigars and shit. Yeah.
Really? George M. Cohan, Ed Wayne, and all the great monologists, singers, monologists, singers, and dancers of the day came out one after another in the huge 3-hour show. At this time, the young Italian tenor Enrico Caruso was starring at the I'm so bad.
Yeah, no, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
It's the main reason not to do it.
Okay, I see.
But I like doing it, but what I do is I do it when he does someone talking.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No, I see what you're doing now, yes.
Keep his voice kind of light is kind of what I do, and
okay.
but I like doing the voice.
I see what you're saying. Yes. Okay. I won't try to. The way you do it is really good. Okay. At that time, the young Italian tenor Enrico Caruso...
He's huge. Caruso. The singing Caruso. Whistling Caruso.
Enrico Caruso was starring at the Metropolitan Opera House and was the toast of New York. When he came on stage towards the end of the program and sang 2 or 3 operatic numbers, he was an absolute sensation. For his final number, he sang the Star-Spangled Banner.
Yes.
And the audience
Classic
gave him
closer.
a 5...
Close!
And the audience gave him a 5-minute standing ovation.
Yes!
Fuck, that's so like low effort.
But he's the best singer.
Wait, that's like I had to do.
He's an opera singer.
Can I interject with my little anecdote?
Sure, man. But keep in mind that when I do stand-up comedy, all I do is sing the national anthem. So calling it low effort is a diss to me personally.
It reminds me of that like the like paladin soldier in that Fallout game where you can only say the Spartan. You can only speak this Pledge of Allegiance.
Right? Yeah. You said he only did the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, that's funny.
Al Johnson, who was scheduled to close.
Al Jolson,
who was scheduled to
from
close.
The Jazz Singer.
Oh, is that him? Wow.
Yeah, The Jazz Singer, the first sound movie.
Yeah. Well,
as a sound recorder. Think about that.
Well, it was not the first sound movie, but it was like the first one to have like live recording sound.
The big one, the big real one that's good.
The one that they talk about.
And they talk. And
it sounded a lot of old stuff. They do. I haven't seen it. I don't.
Yeah, he's a jazz singer.
Are they like talking?
You think the jazz singer is just a white guy with no blackface
on?
Oh my
god! That's me. That's like double.
But I think his character is a white guy that does blackface.
Whoa.
Which might be worse or
I don't
better.
Even know.
I don't know.
They're like
Al Jolson is probably the most famous modern blackfacer.
Really?
Blackface. Yeah, that's what he's famous for.
Al Jolson, who was scheduled to close
Just
the
so
show,
you know, I don't...
had to follow that. So out he came, and believe it or not, this was his opening line. Folks, you ain't heard nothing yet. Do you know something? He was right.
Daffy Duck's kind of like Al Jolson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just I was thinking about different...
I want to do like a black...
No, you don't have to. I'm just saying, I was just thinking out loud about what Al Jolson's vibe is kind of like.
That's like in The Simpsons a
lot.
That's
kind of how Daffy Duck
yeah. They're speaking in like plants in that... I was going to say in that film. Yeah, in that film.
Right.
They're like, the plant... That's what the plant mic term comes from.
From what?
Because they had to put the microphone somewhere
film?
In The Jazz Singer.
Oh, dang.
And they're like, yeah. And Singing in the Rain talks about that. That's
nice.
Yeah. Do you know something? He was right. Wilson got a longer ovation than Caruso. And then 22. Do you want to do 22 now?
Sure. Oh, he was right? That was the end?
That was it. That was a
short one. He just did really good?
Yeah.
Al Jolson was like, well, I'll do really good. And then he did do really good?
I guess so. Okay. That's like one for the times.
That rules.
Yeah.
To me, the funniest comedian ever was Charlie Chaplin. The biggest talent was Sammy Davis Jr. And the greatest entertainer of all time was Al Jolson. And that distinctive singing style of his, Jolson found that by accident. The night of one of his shows, he went to Lindy's restaurant in New York for dinner and had a double order of vegetables and sour cream. That happens to be a dish that consists of radish, cucumbers, and onions. An hour later, while he was on stage singing April Showers, he had a stomach ache. He sang, April showers, oh, may you come your way, oh. Maybe if I knew more about how Al Jolson sounded, I could make it better. I don't know how
I feel like I've heard it, because I don't see all these sounds.
Rah! He's like that. He's like, mammy. Yeah. He says mammy. That's the only thing I know. And the audience loved it. And that was just from the radishes and cucumbers. And when the onions hit him, he fell down on one knee, stayed there, finished the song, and turned out to be a sensation.
Is that it?
I'm doing another one.
I'm
doing another one that's short, and then you can do... Oh, wait, no, this one's long. I'm going to do the long one.
Do the long one, yeah.
All right. When I was about 25, I used to hang out at a little restaurant called Wienig and Sperber on 55th Street, New York. I could get a full course dinner there for 35 cents. When I wasn't working, they let me sign for the meal and run up my bill until I could pay it. One time, I owed them $163, which should give you an idea of how well I was doing. Weenig's was a popular hangout for actors, prize fighters, song pluggers, prostitutes, and prostitutes. Some of them were very pretty, But it turned out they didn't give credit like Wenig. Wenig and Sperber were a couple of real characters. Sperber never stopped talking, but nobody ever knew what he was talking about. One night, Harry Richmond came in for late supper. Sperber came up to him at the table and said, "Mr. Richmond, it's a pleasure to see such a talented eating here. I like music too." "You do?" Richmond muttered. "Do I like music?" Sperber went on. "I come from Chicago." By now, Richmond was eating very fast. "I'm always at the opera," Sperber continued. "I've seen Carmen 17 times. I know it by heart." "You know Carmen by heart?" Richmond asked, mildly impressed. "How does it go?" Sperber said, "Good." Wenig was peculiar in a different way. He remembered only his last conversation. If you asked him a question, he gave you the answer to the last customer's question. One night I came in and asked him, "Have you seen Manny Manishaw?" And he said, "Look on the floor, maybe it fell down." Wenig worked the cash register, checked out the kitchen, and waited on tables when the place was crowded. One night when he was rushing around trying to do all three, a customer stopped him and asked, "Where's the men's room?" Wenig said, "Please, I've only got 2 hands." I'm still trying to figure that one out.
What the fuck?
That place sounds crazy.
What is the book called?
It's called 100 Years, 100 Stories, George Burns.
That's amazing.
It's a good one. He has a lot of weird books like this, I think.
24. In vaudeville, you had to get off to a good start. So
It's just vaudeville.
Vaudeville? Oh my gosh.
No, you're good.
I'm just like...
Vaudeville, vaudevillian.
Vaudeville. That makes it easier. Less syllable. One less syllable.
Yeah.
In vaudeville, you had to get off to a good start. So I always knocked my brains out trying to come up with a great opening. The first time Gracie and I worked together...
That's his wife.
Okay. This is what I came up with. I walked out on the stage alone, stepped to the edge, leaned over to the orchestra leader in the pit, and said to him, "You see this little book? It tells 20 foolproof ways to meet girls." He said, "Give me one way to meet a girl." I said, "Okay. You take an impossible name like Mammy Ditchenfest. Then you go up to the girl and say, 'Pardon me, aren't you Mammy Ditchenfest?' She'll say, 'No.' You say, 'Well, you certainly look like her.' The next thing you know, you're buying her a cup of coffee."
Whoa.
He's horny again.
Does that work?
I don't think so.
Is that the end of the story?
No, at this point, Gracie made her entrance. I said to the orchestra leader, "Watch this." Then I said to Gracie,
"Oh, that's his wife."
"I beg your pardon.
It's a lady.
Is your name Mammy Ditchenfest?" And she said, "Yes."
Yeah.
It's what known as a shock laugh. It's what's known as a shock laugh. I was shocked.
Would like that.
I was shocked that it didn't get one. I was shocked that it didn't get one.
I was shocked that it didn't get one.
I was shocked that it didn't get one.
I don't know.
Let me redeem myself. That was way too long.
Do as many more as you want. Yeah.
Okay, cool. 25. That Didn't-Fest opening I just told you about lasted for one performance. That's a good... In fact, that entire act lasted for one performance. Yeah, in fact, that entire act lasted for one performance. In show business, you have to learn from your mistakes. Fortunately for Gracie and me, that was the one time I learned fast. The way I had it, Gracie was the straight man. Pardon me, the straight person. I was the comedian with the funny hat and the big bow tie that lit up and twirled around. I noticed that the audience laughed at Gracie's straight questions, and my funny answers were greeted with loud silence, except for 2 or 3 which got booed. It was obvious what I had to do.
Everyone likes her.
I stayed up all night rewriting the entire act and switching our roles. I became the straight man, and Gracie became the comedian. And this time I got the opening right. Here is how it went. When Gracie and I, hand in hand, got to the stage center, she glanced back to the side that we'd made our entrance from. There, standing just beyond the curtain, where the audience could see him, was a tall, good-looking man, motioning her to come over to him. She dropped my hand, went to him, and when he put his arms around her, they kissed. And he left.
No, you're fine. I was just reacting.
And he left. Gracie then returned to the stage center, where I'd been standing and watching all this.
That's fucked up.
When she got to me, she
got
said,
cucked.
"Who was that?" After waiting for the big laugh to die down, I said, "Gracie, you kiss a man and you don't know who he is?" And she said, "Mother told me never to talk to strangers." Another tremendous laugh. More important, those two lines immediately set Gracie's character for the audience. Those also became the pattern for the unique
She's a
illogical
stupid
logic.
slut.
Underlying everything she would say from then on. That's crazy. Okay, you want to do this one? Do this one.
Sure,
This is a good
man.
script one.
Whatever. Oh, there's a script. Fuck. Alright, yeah. In vaudeville, trying out new material was always nerve-wracking. One night, Gracie and I did a routine for the first time that went over really big. It was about Gracie's brother bird hunting, and this joke that Joe Frisco had given us got the biggest laugh. Dang, that's huge for Joe Frisco. George, what birds did he go hunting for? Gracie, Hepplewhites. George, Hepplewhites? That must be a bird that came out this season. Gracie, no, the Hepplewhite is a bird that flies backwards. George, flies backwards? Gracie, yes. He's not interested in where he's going. He's only interested in where he's been. That same night, we received a wire from Fred Allen asking us to take the joke about the bird flying backward out of the routine. It was his joke. What a blow. If I took it out, it would leave a hole big enough for a quarter to fall through. I called Fred Allen and offered to buy it. I was willing to pay up to $500 for the joke. That's how much it was worth to us, but Fred wouldn't sell. He was in love with it, too. At that time, I was buying jokes from John P. Medbury. I called him in California and said, I'm in a terrible spot. I've got to replace an important joke. Medbury said, what's the joke? I said, it's about a bird that flies backward. It's not interested in where it's going, it's only interested in where it's been. Without hesitating a minute, he said, have the bird fly upside down, so if you shoot it, it falls up. It got a huge laugh. I was so thrilled with it, I sent Medbury $50 and thanked Fred Allen for saving me $450.
That's fucked up. Do people still fucking...
No, I wish. That would rule.
Dude.
I'm like, bro, Venmo me. Venmo me right now, bro.
Dude, I wrote a joke in middle school so I could get into this friend group and it worked.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
What was it?
It was more of a roast than a joke. Can I explain it real quick?
Sure.
So this man had played basketball, and I realized that this group of people like to pick on him for being bad at basketball.
Right. A boy?
A boy.
A fellow boy?
A fellow boy. It was like a middle school group. I was trying to get closer into the middle of this table.
Yeah.
The lunch table. And this is so lame. I can't believe I'm saying this. And then he was like, he had a very like defined unibrow. And so I was like looking up like basketball players that are bad.
Yeah.
And Anthony Davis. So I was like, you're like Anthony Davis. I have no fucking idea who the fuck Anthony Davis is. And I was like, got laughs because they're like fucking middle schoolers, like sheep.
And he does have a unibrow. Yeah.
Like, it correlates.
That's huge.
We can make fun of him.
That's
I'm like,
huge.
all right, let's go. 8th grade done, you know. All right, 27. Wilton LeCain was one of the finest legitimate actors on Broadway.
Wilton LeCain?
Wilton LeCai.
What? Oh, yeah.
Wilton LeCai?
I have no idea.
Wilton.
I've never even heard of anybody being called Wilton.
Wilton.
Like, I don't, like, it's like, oh.
I like Welvin.
I'm like, Wilton, oh, what?
You know,
and then you're like, Lakai? And I'm like, wait, he's Japanese? Like, this guy's from Taiwan? What is this guy?
I don't know, dude. It's probably some fucked up shit. But
who knows?
I think the guy who is the D's Nutman.
His name's Wilton?
Welvin.
Oh, Weldon.
Welvin.
I know some Weldons.
Weldons? I like
Weldon.
that. Wilton LeCai. One of the finest legitimate actors on Broadway. And like all the other big stars of that time, each year he played in vaudeville for 5 or 6 weeks. He was headlining at the Keith Theater in Cincinnati. And on the bill with him was the little dancing act that opened the show. They called themselves Dunbar and Dixon.
Shit.
After Monday's rehearsal, LeCai went into the bar next door to the theater to have a drink. Dunbar and Dixon happened to come in, and when they saw this big star, Wilton LeCai...
Is that Wilton LeCai?
They almost jumped out of their skins. They went over to their idol, and Dunbar said,
Mr. Lakai, we just wanted to tell you what a thrill it is for us to play on the same bill with you.
Wilton Lakai said,
Thank you, boys.
I don't know who this man is.
No, can't tell what anybody's deal is.
Then Dixon said,
Mr.
I
Lakai.
think they're all famous tap dancers.
they're
Or
all
something.
tapping around, tip tap, tip
They
tap.
all juggle and
They all do tricks for a living.
yeah, they can do trick dives into water.
You
Stuff
know,
like that.
there used to be a diving horse
Oh, yeah.
at Deep Eddies
Oh yeah.
in the teens.
In like the 70s, there was pigs in San Marcos that would
They
do.
dive?
Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah.
When pigs fly.
Yeah.
Ooh. Mr.
Lakai, we would deem it an honor if we could buy you a drink.
I guess they're children. Lakai said,
I'm sorry, boys, but I just as soon drink alone. I just got a wire saying that I lost my mother.
Dixon shook his head sadly and said,
We know just how you feel. Our trunk is missing.
Their trunk's missing? That was the end?
That's it. I don't.
Our trunk's missing.
Our trunk's missing.
Our trunk's missing.
Do you get that?
Maybe they're like not good at they live in the trunk. Maybe they're really small and live in the trunk.
They don't have a mom, and they're like
their
orphans?
trunk is their mom.
What's a trunk, dude? Go
Like their little trunk. Like a little for traveling, because you're a traveling tap dance guy or whatever. You have a little trunk.
That's so fucked
No,
up.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that means about the trunk missing.
That's so fucked up.
Our trunk is missing.
Our trunk is missing. Fuck, that's a D&D subplot.
Yeah, where's
my
our trunk?
You gotta figure out what a trunk is and then get it from. Okay, novelty acts were very popular in vaudeville, and there was one act that was really a novelty. This fellow worked like a chicken, and the chicken danced on one leg. This act was called Jackie Davis and Chick Fowler. It was a real...
Jackie Davis and Chick Fowler. Chick Fowler, so good. Like, I didn't even realize. I was just like, oh, his name's Chick, right? And then I was like, oh, Fowler.
No. It says the fellow's name was Chick Fowler.
But that's a chicken name.
No, I know.
It's a double chicken name.
Chick.
Like fowl.
I just got a fucking dumbass. Chick was a good entertainer.
I bet, man. It's so messed up we'll never see anyone on this level again.
But he liked to drink a lot.
I bet.
Every once in a while, he'd pour a little booze in a saucer for
the chicken, of course.
And the chicken got to like it. He not only got to like it, he got to love it.
No.
Half of the time,
He had a
would
problem. The chicken is so fucked up.
Well, it was tough enough for the chicken to dance on one leg when he was sober.
Oh right, the chicken only has one leg.
But when he was smashed, it was murder. Before you knew it, it got so that they couldn't get a job.
No.
I ran into Chick one day and said, Chick, how are things going? He said, not good, George. Things are so tough. The last night I pretty near ate my partner.
No.
I said, Chick, you wouldn't do a thing like that.
Chick, you wouldn't do that. We know you're a good guy, Chick. You would never do that.
He shook his head and said, of course not. But I must admit, I ate the leg he wasn't using. Oh. I don't know who's a human and who's not, but... Can I do one more?
Yeah, man.
Oh my god, this is... Wait, how does the pacing need to work for this?
I don't care.
Okay, cool, great.
Let's see. We could do as many more as we want.
Cool. The greatest bow for sustained applause. The greatest bow for sustained applause.
It's tough to
was
know.
Yeah.
That's one where you kind of have to read the sentence ahead of time.
That's what I'm like.
To be on top of it.
I mix and I'm like, you gotta read ahead of time, and I'm like, I can't even. They're like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Pray. I don't know. Procrastinate and pray. The greatest bow for sustained applause was the one used by Tramp. Was a Tramp comedian who called himself Bilbo. He was a genius at pantomime. Oh, it's the fucking pantomime shit, right?
And it's from before Lord of the Rings existed, which is very funny because it's like I can't even imagine.
That's what they called them hobbits before they were halflings in D&D because they were like J.R. Tolkien was trying to sue Gygax. You hear about that? Or the estate was trying to.
Oh dang!
That's why they were because in the thing in OD&D they're called halflings or maybe they're called hobbits and then they go to
They switch it.
they have those. No, I'll talk about it later. And this is how Bilbo finished his act. On stage, he wore oversized yellow shoes with big rounded toes. when the
This is the juice. This is really the best thing anybody could. Is just
Dude.
like you're talking to an old man and he used to be like a weird racist clown, and you're just like, what? Oh, could you describe some of the guys you ran with? And he's like, oh yeah, okay. There's this guy Bilbo.
Bilbo fucking Baggins. Oh
And he has
God.
baggy pants. Yeah.
On stage, he wore oversized yellow shoes with big rounded toes. When the curtain came down, Bilbo would stand in such a position that it would land on the tops of his shoes, leaving the toes extended in front so the audience could see them. Then a baby spotlight.
A what?
Then a baby spotlight would hit the shoes.
A baby spotlight?
Like a small
Yeah, that's a
Like
that's a
just-
classic term we know.
just like one for the shoes.
We get a baby spotlight.
Like
Yeah, you should say that on set. You're on a set.
A
You
baby.
go. You go. Can we get a baby? Do you guys have a baby spotlight?
dude, they don't even let me get fucking.
I know, but yeah, you're just like you're in the truck. You're like in the. Do y'all have a baby spot?
I didn't get a baby spotlight on my face at all times.
You guys should get a little baby spot.
Baby spot, baby spot on board.
Did you guys run a baby spot?
Dude, do you
or
think
not
it's
really on the?
Do you think it's probably like a specific light?
Yeah,
They
that's-
use?
I
That's
think
fucking
it's-
cracked. There's probably some dude who like has it in their fucking closet and it's like my grandpa used that.
The baby spot.
The baby spot.
Yeah, I don't know how those because it's like isn't they call it limelight
What do
or
you
whatever?
mean? Limelight because they
Yeah,
use the lime
because it's
thing.
like some you have like a weird lime that you're burning and it's super bright. I
for
think,
some
or
of them. That's for
something.
like the old school like Shakespearean shit, right?
Right, but when are they? If it's 1922,
Well, they're using real lights, but they're like dangerous. They're like bombs because like we have them.
Right.
At, well, you know, like
they're not using fire.
they're
stuff?
like
I
don't
guess
use
not.
those ones if you
I
plug
guess
them
I'm
in.
thinking of the Prestige mostly.
Well, like there's like what do they call HMI lights? If you like, or not, maybe the opposite of HMI, tungsten, or I don't know. That's
Right, yeah.
I'm not a lighting dude.
I know what you're talking about though. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you plug those in and plug them back in, they'll blow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like that's the thing with you know the little slate they use. Can I
Yeah.
talk about this real quick? The
Yeah.
fucking I won't use the I won't I love the brand. I can't remember the brand, but it doesn't matter. It's the one they use on all the shit with that like little logo.
Yeah.
But if you put the fucking battery in and fucking like turn on the like internal power, it has like two power sources or like
Yeah.
it'll start smoking. Just like on set and someone's like, what that? And like the AC's trying to like double charge the fucking thing or something. I'm like, okay, you need to take that before it fucking blows up. It's like smoking. I'm like, that's like $2,000. The greatest bout for sustained Oh wait, let's go back to baby spot. Sorry, wait.
All right, yeah. So the baby spot's on. I don't really understand how he's standing. Where it's just his. It's like
It's a
just his
small light.
toes are
It's-
poking out of his pants.
You know the baby spotlight's cracked. It's like the guy
Right,
who does
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cracked.
I know. He's also running the big spotlight, and
baby.
he's like running the baby spot like with his foot or something.
It's
Like
like a little fucking like rope thing.
the man who's running it doesn't have all the body parts that we have.
This is like what
He has like definitely less teeth,
This is like what
fingers.
drone. This is what drone pilots did in the 1920s.
Yeah, you're just like
You're a baby-
Quasimodo.
You're a baby spot.
You're up there. You're running the baby spot.
Then a baby spotlight would hit the shoes, and the audience would start to applaud.
So Bilbo just has yellow shoes on, kind of, and they hit the baby spot on him, and then everybody applauds.
That's so fucking easy, dude. I know people that are like comedians don't do shit. Like it's so easy. It's one mic. Like I'm like okay, but like
Okay,
that's
but they
like
hit the baby
nothing.
spot.
That's
Wait,
just
wait, maybe there's more. We'll find out more.
Wait.
We'll
At
find
this
out
point,
more.
Bilbo behind the curtain.
You think it's that easy?
no?
You think you could beat Bilbo?
No, it's
I'm just,
it's just about like the production. Like you know what I mean. It's cheaper. You know what I mean. That's where they fill. You know what I mean.
yeah, they're just chilling.
Instead of a band, people are like, you know what I mean. We can talk about it later. You know what I mean. At this point, Bilbo behind the curtain would step out of his shoes. What the fuck?
Oh, he's behind the curtain.
And
I didn't realize he's behind the curtain and you just see his shoes.
should I read from the beginning or we refer to?
I get it now.
Okay,
So
yeah.
he's behind the curtain and you just see his shoes.
Oh.
And then they baby spot just the shoes. Which is that's really funny, yeah.
Yeah, I see.
I thought he was just standing weird. Okay,
No,
now I get it. Yeah.
When-
But he's gonna step out of the shoes now. But you still see the shoes. Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
At this point, Bilbo behind the curtain would step out of his shoes and go around and stand in the wings. Now, as long as the spotlight stayed on his shoes and the audience kept applauding, depending on his mood, when Bilbo thought the applause had gone on long enough, he'd step on stage in his stocking feet and take a bow. The audience realized they had been fooled, and they loved it. They loved him.
They're like, Bilbo!
It's like that one guy unfortunately, the story also had a sad ending. Bilbo was finally booked into Amsterdam's on 42nd Street and Broadway, which was the Palace Theater at the time.
Whoa.
He opened on a Monday and was never better. But what the audience didn't know was that Bilbo had a heart condition. At the end of the...
I think I've heard this. I think I've heard this story before.
It's like an insta-kill. In the fastest fucking death save. Or fails death. At the end of that performance, when he stepped out of his shoes, he had a heart attack and died.
Dang.
I shouldn't laugh. What the fuck? It's like too far.
I mean, it's a joke.
The audience...
He's telling a joke.
The audience was widely applauding his shoes.
After he's dead.
But Bilbo never came out.
No!
For his last bow.
No!
That place is haunted because that dude never got his fucking last bow in.
I think that's good. I think that means he was in his...
He was in the zone.
He was in the zone,
That's
yeah.
good.
You want to die in the zone,
That's
I think,
good.
right?
Flow state, yeah. I don't know why.
I think he would be less likely to haunt.
Oh, you think? Alright. He's bowing in heaven. Or
Yeah,
hell,
maybe he
or
does the
purgatory.
bow. He's a friendly ghost.
He's bowing as a mushroom that he reincarnated as. Like,
He's coming,
the
yeah.
tree sprouts and it bows.
Or it's like everybody's on the stage of the theater and they're bowing, and then you see him and he's like glowing
Yeah.
and he's taking the bow
Yeah.
too.
I don't know why I included the story. It's not exactly hilarious, but
Dang, he read you.
But
he
then-
knew that you were feeling weird.
but then 1 out of 100 isn't bad. That's like it's like a
Wow.
death save, 1% death save or whatever. It's
Right.
like not a real stat, but people hate instant death. I'm like, you guys are babies. Okay,
You gotta die.
you gotta die at some point.
Yeah. This will be the last one of these.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Vaudeville had many great monologists. Of them all, Frank Fay would have to be considered the greatest. That's not just my opinion. It was his, too. He was also the most arrogant monologist in vaudeville. You can make that the most arrogant performer in vaudeville. One time, he was testifying in court, and when the opposing lawyer asked him what his occupation was, he said, "I am the greatest comedian in the world." Later, his own lawyer asked him why he would make a statement like that, and he said, "What could I do? I was under oath." Besides being egotistical and arrogant, Frank had another endearing quality. He could be brutally sarcastic, and his sarcasm reflected his arrogance. When he put you down, it was as though he didn't even want to bother with someone so obviously beneath him. Our paths first crossed when Gracie and I played the Palace. He had been the MC there for months, doing the kind of job only Frank Fay could do. While we performed, he stood in the wings watching. After we finished the act, he sauntered over to us and, ignoring me, took Gracie's hand and began to tell her how impressed he was with everything about her. Her unique delivery, her engaging personality, her delicate charm. He couldn't stop complimenting her. And then, still not giving me so much as a glance, he leaned toward her, and she leaned toward him, and he said, "But where did you get the man?" There was only one Frank Fay. One was enough. He hates that guy. I guess that guy's just a jerk.
I don't get that.
But he's
I
really
think
famous.
That's interesting. We had a Bilbo Baggins reference,
We got
and
Frank
then
Fay.
Fay Wild.
The Fay.
So that's interesting. You should.
It's just, you want to sound like you do magic or whatever.
Oh really?
You're a comedian in
Oh, that makes sense because you're
1899 or whatever.
Actual-
Yeah, you're
like
like,
that's they're like
I
Satanists.
can do magic.
I can do magic with my mouth. That's fine.
Mark.
I'd go on.
Yeah, those are fun. Fun to do.
That's really funny, yeah. That's a good way to mark them, yeah.
But we got.
What's next?
Let's do like a short story. Okay, so this is a book called Salmonella Men on Planet Porno, and it's a collection of short stories by Yasutaka Tsutsui.
Can I do the first one or you want to do it?
It's just one. We can maybe split it off.
Cool, yeah.
Or whatever. But he's...
How you do it? You do it, yeah.
He's like a Japanese writer that writes like, have you seen...
like sexy sci-fi?
Have you seen, what's it called? Paprika?
No.
He wrote the book Paprika's based on. But Paprika's kind of like Inception ripped off Paprika, kind of.
Okay.
Like it's a Japanese anime movie
cool.
that's kind of like Inception.
Interesting.
But he wrote that. And let me look when these all came out.
That's cool.
Let me see. Oh, it has all the names and... How do I know when all of them came out? Oh, it's not in here. There's some good ones.
Was it like 70s? When was it?
That's the thing. It's like some of them are from like the 60s and 70s, but then he's still alive. And this is kind of like a broad collection of different
I see.
stuff. So I was
they're
like,
short stories, yeah?
Yeah, they're short stories. And I have some favorites of them. And I wanted to read, Bearswood Mainline.
Bearswood Mainline.
Bearswood Mainline is the name of it. But yeah, they're kind of like freaky. But yeah. I wonder when this one, I'll look it up later. So yeah, it's called Bearswood Mainline. We were just a few minutes from Boarswood Station. Where are you headed? Asked a thickly bearded man sitting opposite me. 4 Bins, I replied. I'd heard they made good buckwheat noodles in the little town of 4 Bins. So I planned to go there and eat my fill, then buy as much as I could take home with me. That's why I was traveling on the Hairy Beast line. You see, I'm quite mad about buckwheat noodles. If I hear of a place that's famous for them, I have to go there and try some for myself, no matter how remote it is. What do you mean you're going to stay on this train all the way round Hairy Beast till you get to 4 Bins? The bearded man looked at me with eyes agog. With his close-cropped hair and a towel hanging from his belt, he looked like some kind of mountain lumberjack. Why, yes, I replied. That's the only way, isn't it? Well, you could get off at Boarswood and change onto a train going to Deerswood from there. That's only one stop from 4 Bins, said the bearded man. At Boarswood, you change onto Bearswood Mainline. It's only a single track, mind, but it'll get you to 4 Bins 4 hours quicker than going all the way around Hairy Beast. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm going to Bearswood myself, said the bearded man, looking out at the night sky. A clear, star-filled sky stretched out over the forest on either side of the tracks. It was already 11:30. There weren't many passengers on the train as it journeyed deep into the mountains. In our carriage, there were only 12 or 13, including the bearded man and myself. I get it. It's called Bearswood Mainline because it goes through Bearswood, right? Yes, of course. But it's only a single track, and it's so short. Why is it called a main line? I asked. I took out some cigarettes and offered one to the bearded man. He pulled a strip of matches from his shirt pocket and lit up, took a deep puff, and slowly started to explain. In olden times, the Bearswood Main Line was the only railway in these parts. That was before Hairy Beast got so big. In those days, the line we're on now was also part of Bearswood Main Line. It went up into the mountains from Boarswood, passed through Bearswood and Deerswood, and ended up in 4 Bins. When was it now? Well, when the railway to Hairy Beast was built going the long way round to 4 Bins, people began to think of that as the main line. So they started calling this the Hairy Beast line. But us people who lived around here, we still call it the Bearswood Main Line. Just the bit between Boarswood and Deerswood, mind. The main line, we call it. Yes, I vaguely remembered reading about it in a magazine some years back. The local railway line that runs through the mountains to Deerswood. Right. I'll change on to that then, I said. The bearded man nodded vigorously. That'd be best. He said, Boarswood was a tiny station in the middle of the forest. Only 2 passengers got out, me and the bearded man. At the end of the platform was another smaller platform set at right angles to it. It was the terminus of the Boarswood main line. A train was already waiting there. Actually, it was more of a single carriage than a train. I'd imagine the train would be pulled by a branch line locomotive, but there was nothing of the sort. It just moved by itself, a single carriage, self-powered train. As we got in, I noticed the carriage had rows of double seats facing the front on one side only. There were no other passengers, just me and the bearded man. Here you are at last, said a voice. It was the driver coming up behind us. Oh, beside us. He looked exactly the same as the bearded man. They must be brothers, I thought. Or cousins. That's weird, he looks exactly like him. It was so sudden, I was that shocked, I came back as soon as I got the letter, the bearded man said to the driver. Then he pointed to me. This jit wants to get from Deerswood to 4 Bends, he said. Well, we'd best be going then, said the driver, returning to his seat. The train started its gentle climb up the mountain, into the gloomy depths of the forest. Chilly mountain air flowed around the carriage through an open window. By the way, what about the connection at Deerswood? I asked the bearded man, who seemed lost in thought. He blinked. Connection? What connection? I mean, how long will I have to wait for the train to 4 Bends? Well, at this time of night, he looked at his watch and thought for a moment. Then he suddenly slapped his thigh. What a great fool I am. I've done you wrong. I have. Truth is, you'll have to wait 4 hours and a bit at Deerswood. What? 4 hours? I said in astonishment. What do you mean? That's right. You'll have to wait for that train we just got off. How much of a fool I am. I wasn't thinking straight. I thought you'd be able to catch the one before it. I forced a smile as he continued to apologize. No, it's fine, I said. After all, I got the chance to ride in this most unusual train, didn't I? The bearded man grinned as I looked the carriage up and down. Yes, it is unusual, isn't it? Soon you'll see why it is, too. And the driver, is he your brother? Well, how shall I put it? He thought hard, but then seemed to give up. Let's just say we're related, he concluded. You should go. You'll go. It's at the top. Try that out.
The second page? Or
No, it's at the top.
Oh, I imagined his whole family living with him in Bearswood. And just as I thought that, the bearded man started to explain, as if he'd been reading my mind. Yes, come to think of it, nearly everyone who lives in Bearswood is a relative of mine. And this morning, one of them passed away.
No!
I was working in the mountains and only heard the news this afternoon.
What?
So I'm going back for the wake tonight. Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear about that. For the next few minutes, I looked out of the windows on either side of the carriage. This is quite a long stretch, isn't it? I said at length. Are there any other stations on this line besides Bearswood? No, replied the bearded man. Boarswood at one end, Deerswood at another, and Bearswood in between. Really? So this train is more or less exclusively used by your family, is it? Well...
It's sort of a family train.
Yes. I suppose it is, he replied quite earnestly. In olden days, there were 3 hamlets in these parts. Boarswood, Bearswood, and Deerswood. The senior.
I really love hearing about Boarswood, Bearswood, and Deerswood.
It's like some D&D. Like I don't know.
Yeah, they're like it's 3.
You can only go to You can only go to these 3 towns, motherfucker. Like that kind of shit.
Got Bearwood, Deerwood.
What the fuck, dude? It's like my shit. Naming it my command. Boarswood, and Deerswood. The only senior member of my clan in Bearswood used to be the village elder of all 3 hamlets. These days, Boarswood and Deerswood have been opened up. These days, Boarswood and Deerswood have been opened up. So the only hamlet that's been still unspoilt. You want to read this real quick? Unspoilt?
I'm working on Starboard.
Oh.
That's
all
I
right.
stepped away.
In Bearswood. The village elder in Bearswood is much respected by everyone around here. If ever anything happens, people get in the train and come up to Bearswood for advice. What the fuck? I'm like tripping balls.
No, you're doing good. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that must be why.
This is what it's like when you visit like a small town.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Bears, Deerwood. Yeah, Bears, yeah. And you guys are from Boarwood? They're like, no, we hate them. And you're like, oh.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, right, yeah.
My bad. Fishtown. Where's Fishtown? These days, Boarswood and Deerswood have been opened up.
Right.
So the only
one that's unspoiled.
That's still unspoiled is Bearswood. The village elder in Bearswood is much respected by everyone around here. If ever anything happens, people get in this train and come up to Bearswood for advice. Yes, that must be why we call it the main line.
Yes.
The train slowed.
They keep trying to think of why they call it they're like, I don't know why it's really the main line.
We just call it that.
It
now.
just is.
It's like, yeah.
It's the main line.
It's the fucking main line, dude.
Stop questioning
It says
the
it
main
on the
line.
sign. This is the Bearswood. We're still at the bottom of Bearswood Mountain. The station's at the top. We were still surrounded by mountains. All I could see around us was dense forest and undergrowth, and a little hut standing beside the track. Looking down, I noticed we'd been joined by a second track running alongside us. The rails shone brightly in the moonlight. It's a double track here, I said vacantly. That's right. From here, the train changes.
You need to read until they get off the train.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
You're on until they get off the train.
That's right. From here, the train changes into a cable car. That's why it's a double track.
Oh, it goes to a cable car.
You mean this is a cable car? I was surprised again.
Everyone knows I'm in over my head.
But now, I understood the strange appearance of the carriage. The driver got out and went into the little hut.
This is what Japanese people think about. They're like in a train and they're like, but what if it was like just a little train and that train was also a cable car? And you're like, damn.
That's some crazy shit, dude. This is like crazy feel for D&D bullshit too.
yeah. Just weird unhinged vibe. Scary unhinged surrealism.
I feel like everyone's silently paired, but
they all look the same though, bro.
Through the open door, I could just see something that looked like electrical equipment inside. Eventually, he emerged from the hut, and after doing something at the front of the train for about 10 minutes, returned to his seat. He'd probably been attaching the carriage to a cable. The little hut began to vibrate, making a loud humming noise like a motor. With that, the cable car slowly started to climb the steep incline of the mountain. I suppose there must be some kind of winch at the top of the mountain, which could be operated from the bottom. I gazed out of the window as my body was forced back into the seat. Suddenly, I remember the whole of the article I'd read in the magazine. A few years back, I jumped up. That's it! Now I remember.
What was it?
What is it you remember? The bearded man sitting next to me gave me a sideways look.
He said it out loud! He totally should have said it to himself and then said it out loud.
I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should go on. But then I turned to him and let it out. Didn't they close this line down 4 years ago because it was too expensive to run and there weren't enough passengers? The bearded man seemed unperturbed, and just smiled. You do have a good memory. That is absolutely right.
You read the news well, young man.
You read paper well, sir. He answered slowly. I sat there dumbfounded as he continued. But you see, if they close this line down...
It's the main line. Bro.
We in Bearswood would be in trouble. People in the other hamlets would be in trouble too.
How could they get to Bearswood?
Not only would they be unable to get to Bearswood anymore, but people in Bearswood would have to go all the way around Hairy Beast to just get to Deerswood, and take 4 hours and a bit doing it too. So we got the railway company to sell us the line, on the condition that the Bearswood residents take care of the operation. And maintenance mind, as you saw. My relative from Bearswood works full-time as the driver, but only when there are passengers wanting to use it. Is that right? I said with a sigh. The only carriage passed us the other carriage passed us silently on its way down the mountain. The train must have been operating on the counterweight system with no stops. This is what you do when you can't put fucking gum down on the fucking street, dude. This is like, what the fuck? Just fucking around. The other carriage passed us silently on its way down to the mountain.
Yeah, you have to have two, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever ridden a cable car?
No, I haven't.
It's like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, yeah, because it's like, yeah. The train must have been...
But you see them as you go? In the middle?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Creepy. The train must have been operating on the counterweight system.
Right.
With no stops in between, the other carriage had no lights on and was completely dark inside.
Scary.
Of course, there was nobody in it.
Of course.
We have to balance out the weights, you see. So we fill that one with buckets of water, the bearded man explained. A few more minutes went by. So all the people in Bearswood must be quite rich then, I asked casually. The bearded man said nothing. After all, I argued, you'd have to be pretty well off to buy a whole railway line.
True.
And it would cost a lot to maintain, too. He
True.
smiled meaningfully. So that was it. They hadn't bought the line at all. The railway company thought they closed the line down. But all the people living in that area had colluded to keep using the carriages. And the electricity, which they were using illegally. As well as all the other equipment and what have you, without the permission of the railway company. That must be it. The station staff at Borswood and Deerswood were related to the people in Bearswood, so they turned a blind eye to it all, and the money they needed to maintain the line was being raised through some kind of subterfuge. After all, where would people in a poor mountain hamlet find the money to buy up a whole branch line?
Questions everybody's wondering. They go, this is too good.
This is too good to be true.
This is... How could you explain this?
Don't tell me.
Monetarily.
This is so...
Impossible to explain.
This is like when my brother... Like, how is this town here, Ethan? There's no river source. I'm all fucked up. There's magic in the trees. So... After all, where would people in the poor mountain hamlet find the money to buy up a whole branch line? It just wouldn't happen. The incline grew steeper as we approached the top of the mountain. I put my head out of the window and looked at the summit. There I could see a few large thatched houses. The cables and rails were heading straight towards the ground floor. That's where the Bearswood clan lives, said the bearded man. There was nothing else resembling a house anywhere near the top of the mountain, so I guess the whole clan must live in the massive house. Eventually, our carriage moved into the ground floor of the house, as if being sucked into it. The rails continued into an earth-floored room on the ground floor, and there the cable car terminated. On our right was a cooking area, including a hearth, water jugs.
Hearth.
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 That's how I say it.
Hearth? Hearth?
Hearth.
Is that like a storage container? What is that?
It's like where the fire is.
Oh, okay.
Like
yeah.
the bricks around the
Central
chimney
heating,
fire thing.
Jugs, pails, and other requisites. On the left was a raised wooden floor that must have measured about 40 square yards.
Wow.
As the cable car came to the halt, the far end of this wooden floor formed a kind of platform. On the wooden floor, about 30 people, including elders and children, had gathered to hold a wake. They knelt on the floor.
They're like, the train pulls up, it's at the funeral. It's in the building where the funeral is happening. Yeah, y'all pull up, the train pulls up.
They knelt on the floor cushions, eating, drinking, and talking as others paid their respects. The cable winching machinery was fixed high in the ceiling of the earth-floored room. Looking up, I could see 2 large pulley wheels wound with cables. The wheels were attached to thick beams and crossbeams from which families of bats were hanging.
Nice.
The ceiling over the floor room was so high and dark that I couldn't even see it. A man of about 50, his face red from drinking, got up and climbed into our carriage through the open door. Well, that were quick. Sasuke, he said. Yeah? I came back as soon as I got the letter, the bearded man said, then pointed to me. The gentleman wanted to go to 4 bins, so I advised him to take the main line. He explained to the red-faced man. The red-faced man stared at me in the wonderment. What? But if he goes to Deerswood now, he'll be waiting 4 hours and a bit before the train to 4 bins arrives. I know, said the bearded man apologetically. I just weren't thinking straight. I thought he'd be able to catch the one before it. What a great fool I am. Well, seeing as you're here now, why not join us for a while? The red-faced man said to me. You must have a drink before you go. Oh, no, I couldn't, I replied, shaking my head. I'd been disturbing the wake. Nonsense. You'd be welcome. You've 4 hours to kill, haven't you? We'll make sure the drivers get you to Deerswood in time for your train.
Now the bearded man joined him in coaxing me out of the cable car. I could hardly refuse their kindness, so I got out of the carriage and took my place on the wooden floor. Have you brought someone from your travels? Asked a white-whiskered old man sitting in the place of honor at the head of the coffin. I assumed he must be the village elder. V and E capitalized. This gentleman was going to 4 bins, so I advised him to take the main line, explained the bearded man. That's good, answered the old man with a smile. I followed the bearded man as he proceeded to the coffin, which was covered with a white cloth. That's what's weird. You don't realize in Japan, the funeral color is white.
Why is that the case? Purity?
I don't know. You're dead or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Buddhist, or is that just for
It's just in Japan. It's just not black. You think it's black because we have black.
Yeah.
But they have white.
Interesting. That's cool.
I followed the bearded man to the coffin. Oh yeah, covered with a white cloth. After lighting some incense, I returned to my space on the floor. Come on, girls. The guest is waiting for a drink, the red-faced man called in a sonorous voice. The voice was enough to wake a girl of about 17 or 18 who was sleeping with a group of children in a corner of the room. Sitting up abruptly, she rubbed her eyes and looked at me with a dazed expression. Her face was white and perfectly beautiful. We are but rustic folk. We haven't much to offer, said a middle-aged woman who closely resembled the girl. She placed a dish full of cooked wild vegetables in front of me and poured me some liquor from a small earthen bottle. Thank you, I said, taking a sip. The liquor was thick and dry and tasted exceedingly good. By the way, who was it that passed away? I asked the middle-aged woman. My uncle it was. Your uncle? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. People in this village seem to live long. Besides the village elder, there were 4 other men, about 7 women, who must have been well over 80. The men all had thick beards, and large round eyes. The women must have all been beauties in their time. The men started talking amongst themselves. The return of the bearded man seemed to have brought a new buzz to the proceedings. Even the sleeping children were starting to sit up. The beautiful girl who'd been sleeping with them was now serving food and drink. Together with the other women, everyone called her Luna. There were 3 other girls of around her age, and they were all pretty. But none of them could match Luna's beauty. The red-faced man seemed especially partial to drink and kept coming over to pour me another. When I returned the compliment by filling his cup, he would drink it down in one and proffer his cup again. "What's up? Do you not like drinking?" he asked. "No, it's not that. The liquor really is delicious." "Yes! It's a local brew called Morning Monkey." An hour passed, and then another. The gathering grew more raucous by the minute. By now, I'd been given about 3 earthen bottles of Morning Monkey, and was beginning to feel quite drunk. "Come on, drink up," said the red-faced man, as he came to pour me another cupful. "Sorry, I'm feeling a bit woozy," I said. "If I had a drop more, I'd be under the table, and then I won't be able to continue my journey. Could I possibly have a glass of water?" I asked. The red-faced man looked around him. "Oi, the guest would like a cold drink." "I'll get it." Luna, who happened to be nearby, hopped down onto the earthen floor, stepped over the cable car rails, and crossed to the kitchen area. There she opened a huge refrigerator and took out a bottle of Coca-Cola, which she brought over to me. Pretty much the ultimate. That would be great if we got if there's a hot lady and she gave you a Coca-Cola.
I'd be happy.
That would rule.
I like Coke.
"Will you leave this village when you get married?" I asked her, after taking a swig. Luna looked at me blankly with no sign of embarrassment. "Why, yes. Most of the women who marry men from Borswood or Deerswood. Most of the women here marry men from Borswood or Deerswood. Sometimes the husbands come to live here, and sometimes people from Bearswood even marry each other." Someone called her, so she left me and started serving liquor again. The other women were all dressed in rustic garments. Only Luna was wearing jeans and a sweater. As the night wore on, the women found themselves with less to do and started taking turns snoozing with the children in the corner. The young girls slept with their feet facing me. Each time they turned in their sleep, I was presented with the sight of their milky white thighs. I hardly knew where to look. So yeah, he's kind of a horny old man.
How old is he in this when he was writing this?
I don't know.
Do old men get more horny?
I think they're just all horny all the time.
But I feel like that's a thing. Like,
in Japan, the guys are horny the whole time.
Oh, yeah, it's like Enter the Void bullshit.
Everybody's really horny.
Yeah, fair enough.
Horny. It's thinking about thighs, milky white thighs.
Milky white.
Yeah, they love that. The men started clapping a beat. "Come on then, who's ready to sing?" called the village elder, beaming. "Who's ready to dance?" said the bearded man. "All right, then I am." The red-faced man got up and moved to the center of the floor. Everyone started laughing. He was obviously very popular. The red-faced man glanced over at me. "Well, seeing that we have a guest, let us now sing the Song of Bearswood," he said loudly. With that, the whole place erupted. Luna and others knelt down on the wooden floor and clutched their trays to their stomachs and laughed aloud. This must be a funny song, I thought. I started clapping my hands in time with the others. The red-faced man now started to dance, a curious sort of dance. As he did, he sang in a clear, penetrating voice. "Nanjare kumanaki, kanjare inaki, noke notaraka, hoke hotaraka, toke to. The men and women were rolling across the floor with laughter. The red-faced man returned to his seat amid tumultuous applause. "Who's next? Let us have more." It seemed they would continue the Song of Bearswood. The bearded man moved to the center of the room. Yes, it's me now. That alone was enough to set off eddies of laughter. The bearded man started to dance in a way that differed just slightly from the red-faced man's effort. In a rich, deep voice, he sang, Nanjare kumanaki, kanjore inaki, yoke, yotaraka, ake, ataraka, koka, go.
Is that...
Well, this was so funny that even I was gripping my belly. The men and women, the men and even the women were bent double with laughter, tears streaming down their cheeks. The children were upturned on the floor, feet shaking uncontrollably in the air. Not only was the song out of tune and utterly nonsensical, but the dance was so completely absurd as to be from another world. Whoever sang or danced, guffaws would surely ensue. With the opening, Nanjure Kumanaki, the dancer would arch his body to the right, as if to depict a great mountain. Then, with Kanjure Inaki, he would depict a mountain to the left. Then he would hop to the right and adopt a pose, then hop to the left and adopt the same pose in reverse. Finally, he would lift one leg, screw up his face, and hop along like a chicken. At last, laughter died down and the clapping started again. They all seemed to be in some kind of frenzy. I began to feel carried along with it myself. A lightly built, affable old man moved to the center of the room. He resembled the village elder, though not such an imposing figure. Everyone burst into laughter again. The women and children shrieked with merriment as they clapped to the rhythm. The old man must have been particularly popular with them. Bearing his gnarled old arms and legs, he danced with great skill and sang in a husky voice. All right, you want to hit some of these?
Yeah.
You want to do some of these? You're ready?
And then, okay.
Yeah.
Nonjore kamunaki. Is that...
Whatever.
Kanjore inaki.
This is old,
Sokai.
man, yeah.
Sotoraka.
He sounds old.
Mokai. Motoraka. Tokai. To.
Yeah.
Some
Everybody's
laughed.
going nuts. Everybody's loving it.
So much.
They're
were
really hamming it
gasping
up. Everybody's loving it.
for breath.
Yeah.
Clutching their chests. Others were in convulsions. Still others had collapsed on the floor. The din was so loud that the house seemed ready to burst. I had tears of mirth in my eyes, and my head was starting to feel numb. The clapping started again. Who's next? Let us do the whole hog. Let us do the whole hog. I'll do it in turns, all in turns. The driver of the train danced out from his place in the corner to the center of the wooden-floored room. The mere sight of that was so comical that the women were already laughing hysterically. He was obviously an accomplished buffoon. As I reeled with the laughter, a thought flitted dimly across the back of my mind. If this funny man were to dance the same dance as the others, I might just die laughing. or failing that, go stark raving mad. The train driver...
This is what it's like.
Started to dance. This is like some Sonic dance shit. Singing in a crazy high-pitched voice. Oh, here we go.
You got it.
Non dry. Wait,
High-pitched.
Non dry. Go back.
wait. I used to do this a lot in high school. Wait, is that wait?
I mean... Yeah,
Non dry.
that's good.
Kamunaki.
That's good.
Kanjure. Inaki. Kokai. Kudoaka. Tuskai. Zudoaka. Pokai. Po.
He did a P?
Yeah.
Wow. I would laugh.
I would laugh too.
If it wasn't the T.
This is some I was pole-axed, laughing so that I could hardly breathe. Some of the women just couldn't bear it any longer. They ran across the wooden floor, jumped down to the earthen floor, crossed to the hearthplace, and crouched down
To pee?
there for comfort.
To pee.
Next, The young man sitting
Those
next
ladies
to
went pee. I didn't know.
next to the young man sitting next to the driver was urged out by the clapping, and moved to the center with a sheepish look. It really seemed that everyone would have to sing and dance in turn. As I clapped time with the others, I wondered if I would have to join in as well, because if that were the
your
case,
turn soon.
I would be next in the line. Oh fuck! It's like
this is like what it's like. This is what it's like being a little kid, though.
Dude.
You're just at kindergarten.
Yeah,
you're just like shit.
The young man.
Not me. Please
No,
not me.
please, no.
Wait,
No,
everybody else did it.
Popcorn, dude, popcorn.
Anything.
The young man started to dance, singing in a woeful voice. Nonjarai, kamonaki, kanjarai, inunaki, sikai sitaraka, gokai gotoraka, kakai kakakakaka.
That was before.
By now, they repeated the song so many times that even I knew more or less how it went. As long as you started with Nanjarai, Kamunaki, Kanjarai, Inaki, you could change the second part as it felt fit. The young man returned to his seat, accomplished by a thunderous ovation. Now they all started clapping. The beat again.
What do you think's gonna happen?
What
do you think's gonna happen?
I don't know.
I know what happens.
Oh God.
You're gonna really like what happens.
The beat again and smiled over at me. I don't even know. I feel like I'm just psionic. This is psionic bullshit, but it's not. Mind powers.
Right.
I hope they are not gonna laugh at him.
Weird. I mean, we'll see, man.
But
they laughed at everyone else, so that would be good.
But that would be so.
That would be good if they laughed.
If they did.
Because that's what they laughed at everyone.
We'll
then
see what he does.
Then he would be like their friend.
I thought he was trying to get some Buckeye weed, dude, or what is it?
No, yeah, but
buckwheat
that train's not gonna be there for a while.
This dude, can someone make him fucking buckwheat noodles?
No, that's a different town.
Oh, okay.
That's the other town.
I'm too in the fucking zone with these fucking like road sections. This is like what you need to do instead of running. Okay. By now, they repeated the song so many times. Oh wait, I already did this part. The young man returned to his seat, accompanied by a thunderous ovation. Now they all started clapping the beat again and smiled over at me. I hesitated for a moment. They're like, okay, motherfucker.
Everybody's looking at you.
This is some fucking tree, dude. This is like what you do to fuck with people. This is so bad. Perhaps.
Yeah, this is what middle school's like.
This is like island shit too. Is that like okay? No, sorry not to be a dick. This is funny. Perhaps it would have seemed a bit impertinent to me, a stranger, to sing and dance in front of these people, but they were evidently expecting just that. And besides, I'd been so generously wined and dined, it would have been rude not to dance for them. As I dithered, the village elder, still clapping to the beat, suggested, "Well, perhaps our dance is a bit too hard for the guests."
No.
Can we do older
Don't
voice?
diss me. No, I was just reacting. I was reacting. He's dissing him.
That got me up on my feet. No, I'll do the dance, I said. Everyone applauds. The guests will do the dance, they exclaimed.
Yes.
Good old guests. Luna and the other woman now came closer, and they watched with lots of expectation.
Like, we might.
This dance was funny. Whoever danced it, so the same should be true for me. First, I moved to the middle of the room.
This is TikTok. I'm realizing this is TikTok.
Then,
I'll do the dance.
Then,
I'm gonna do the dance. Everybody does the dance, and everybody loves the dance.
You gotta do it right, man. But you can do a little rendition if you want. Okay? If you want. Then after
Pretty much forced to.
Pretty much forced.
That's when I post on TikTok.
You post on
It's
TikTok?
pretty much forced. I have to do this dance.
Why?
Because everybody else has.
What do you mean? You don't have to.
I was just saying if this was
Psionic
TikTok.
mind
If
power
this was
dance.
TikTok.
Yeah, I was right. I do traffic mutations. We'll talk about. I'll just write mutations in the car. I was doing psionic dance mutations the other day.
That's cool.
This dance was funny. Whoever danced it, so the Shane. Wait, good old guess. Luna and the other woman now came closer and watched with looks of expectation. This dance was funny. Whoever danced it, so the same should be true for me. First, I moved to the middle of the room Then after swaying 2 or 3 times in rhythm with clapping, I started to sing the song and dance with the dance. Nanzarai Kamunaki Kanzarai Unaki Bukai Butaraka
Fuck.
Yakai
No.
Yaktoraka Bukai Bo 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 Bo.
No.
I finished the song.
No.
I finished the dance, laughing aloud at my own foolishness. I waited for the plaudits, and then I noticed not a single person was laughing. All of them, the village elder, and the other seniors, the bearded man, the women, they all stopped clapping and now cast their heads down with uneasy looks. The red-faced man and the train driver, visibly paler now, examined the bottoms of their liquor cups and scratched their heads in embarrassment. Even Luna, standing there on the earthen floor,
Come on, Luna.
looked awkwardly at their feet.
Luna.
I knew I shouldn't have done it. I thought I flopped down onto the floor. I, a stranger, had danced the dance badly and ruined the wake. With trepidation, I turned to the village elder to apologize. I really am very sorry, I said. I, a stranger, have danced your dance badly and ruined your wake. No, that's no problem, the village elder lifted his face and looked at me with pity, shaking his head. You sang and danced most well. Almost too well, in fact, for an outsider.
Fuck.
Oh.
Yeah, you thought that was bad. That was actually
Said-
really good. That was actually really good.
Maybe I was wrong.
We
to
were all
dance
pretty
too
impressed
well.
with how good you were.
In that case, why did no one laugh as they did before? The words you sang were not good. I looked at him in disbelief. The words? But all I did was sing nonsense, like everyone else. That's true, the village elder replied.
But
The others all sang nonsense because they were trying to not sing the real words. But you intending to sing nonsense accidentally sang the real words. The real words, I said aghast. You mean what I sang was the real song of the Bearswood? The Bokai Bo 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 Bo? The very sound drew gasps and moans from the villagers as they squirmed in their seats.
don't say it. Say it ain't so.
Why? I asked the village elder, as if to cross-examine him. What is wrong with singing the real words? The village elder started to explain. The song of Bearswood, it's taboo. We're forbidden to sing it. It's been passed down since olden days here in Bearswood. But we're not allowed to sing it out aloud in front of folk. For if we sing out loud, something terrible will surely happen to this country of ours.
No.
I said with mounting incredulity. What he said. You mean this whole country we're living in? That's right. Superstitious nonsense. I just wanted to laugh it off. They'd all ganged up to make a fool of me. But as I looked around again, it didn't seem like a joke at all. They all wore generously gloomy expressions and looked quite crestfallen.
It really made everyone sad.
I felt a shudder. Then I turned again to the village elder.
When you said all those slurs, it actually
Please.
kind of bummed everyone out.
Make fun of me. Are those slurs?
I
I was like, oh my god. Okay. They all ganged
That's
up.
kind of the vibe. They're like, actually, you said the F slur.
You said bad word.
Yeah.
You said I'm not pretty. Superstition nonsense. I just wanted to laugh it off. They all ganged up to make a fool of me. But as I looked around again, it didn't seem like a joke at all. They all wore generously gloomy expressions and looked quite crestfallen. I felt a shudder, Then I turned again to the village elder. "Please, don't make fun of me," I begged. "I'm quite superstitious, you know, for my age." "There's nothing superstitious about it," said the village elder, looking at me sternly for the first time. "Whenever someone from the hamlet accidentally sings a song, something terrible happens to this country of ours. So we take I was tripping balls. So we take special care to everyone, adults and children, not to sing it. But every now and then, some parent, through lack of care or attention, lets a child sing it. For whatever reason, and every time that happens, some awful disaster or misfortune afflicts this country. Well, until now, it's only been children. So the punishment has not been too bad. It's never been so bad that the whole country has gone to ruin. But tonight, a fine young man like yourself has come and has sung the song so loudly, so well. The punishment will surely be severe."
Shit.
I just didn't know. An involuntary cry of anguish issued from my throat. All I did was sing nonsense. I didn't know what it meant. Will there be punishment even for that? There will, the village elder replied with horrible certainty.
Yes.
I buried my head in my hands. "Why did you let me do the dance?" I cried. "If the song is so taboo and dangerous, why did everyone urge me to sing it? You're all responsible too, you know."
Oh, shit. What do you...
"And anyway, why did you start singing the song of Bearswood in the middle of a wake? Didn't you think someone might just sing the real words by mistake? It's true, we're partly to blame as well," said the red-faced man who'd been the first to dance. He spoke with the true remorse and shifted uneasily in his seat. "Yes, we'd be wrong to put all the blame on you," echoed the village elder, looking at me with sorrowful eyes. "The reason why we do so enjoy singing the song of Bearswood, is that one day
It's so dangerous.
someone might just sing the real words by accident.
That's why it's so fun to sing.
It's so miraculously funny because the singer puts us all in a state of nervous excitement, and deeper down there's a feeling of pride that our clan holds the key to this country's fate. That makes the song even funnier. On top of that, we all got a bit carried away tonight. When you said you would do the dance, I had a bit of foreboding. I'll wager the others did too. But none of us could ever have imagined, not even in our wildest dreams, that you would go and sing the real and proper words, sound for sound, without a single mistake from the beginning to end. We were all just enjoying the thrill, the sense of danger, and now it has ended in this."
Wow.
I was almost crying. "Is there no way of purging it?" I asked. They all shook their heads as one. Oh, they are psionically attuned, low-key. "No,
Yeah.
there's no way," the village elder replied. "Well, what's done is done. Let us not think too much about what might happen to our country now." "Yes, let us not think about it," echoed the others, doing their best to console me. "There's no point of tormenting yourself, thinking what might happen. But put it out of your mind. Do not concern yourself." Could I help concerning myself, I wondered? The driver stood up. Right then, he said, "Had we better be on our way? It's 3:30. "Yes. You send the guest off, will you?" said the village elder. "Goodbye, then," I said. I got up with a heavy heart and bowed to them all. The men and women all bowed back in silence. Luna, half hiding behind the middle-aged woman, who looked remarkably like her, nodded to me from the earth-floored room. I climbed back into the car, The young driver took me back down to the foot of the mountain, and from there to the little station at Deerswood. Just as he was leaving, the driver turned to me. Would you kindly not say anything to anyone about the Bearswood main line, or a Bearswood clan, or the song just now? He asked, motherfucker! Motherfucker!
Please.
Of course, I replied. I have no intention of telling anyone at all. These are motherfucking island. This is like some island shit, dude. You're just like, this is like, oh my god. 2 days later, I finally returned, and ever since then, I've been waiting, nervously, wondering every day what terrible catastrophe will befall our nation. So far, to the best of my knowledge, nothing seems to have happened at all. Sometimes I think they were just making fun of me after all. But maybe, just maybe, something awful might just be about to happen.
Whoa.
Or perhaps it already has happened.
Shit.
And I'm the only one not to know about it. Perhaps something really, really terrible is happening to our country at this very moment. That's creepy. That made me get goosebumps right then and there. I like this. Good story.
That was the end?
Yeah, that was it.
Wow, and it got goosebumps right at the end?
I got goosebumps, like actual goosebumps.
That's good.
That was a very good story, good flow, good dopamine loop. I have 2 comments. Island, I don't mean like Japan necessarily. Like, I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about with islands.
You don't?
No. What do you mean?
I have 2 references for my life. My best friend, his...
Oh, do you mean like the Caribbean?
No, even Hawaii.
Okay,
People,
yeah.
it's like it's a stereotype that people on islands, like, they're so small and tightly, like, it's like a city, but not.
Right.
People like to fuck around with each other and just do stupid shit. And so, like, you could say, like, my friend Zed, but also my dad's friend.
Yeah.
My friend.
But they also, taboo is sort of a Hawaiian thing.
Taboo.
Because they said, the thing about the taboo, where they said, like, he kind of saying the taboo words or whatever.
Yeah.
But they do a thing in Hawaii, there's, like, different stuff that's taboo for different, like, certain people are only allowed to wear certain flowers, and it's taboo for other people to wear them. And
also,
yeah.
This is not important.
No.
But this is for D&D metagaming.
No.
There's a new perk. It's, like, psionically attuned with all your homies in the party. So you can add a bunch of people. But you can be like, if you have it, you can be like, okay, we're all gonna share one AP pool. You can give all your AP to one person.
Oh, that's cool.
So Conrad could just up Barbarian Rage all the time if you want.
Cool,
and they can just stick back. It's just random metagaming shit.
Cool. Yeah, it's like a battle. Didn't you have a thing that's like Battlefield Conductor?
It's like Battlefield Archivist or Orchestrator or something.
Something
it's like in the it's in the experimental one.
I've seen that, yeah.
I'm about to add some new ones, but I need
good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. That was good. That was really good. I was confused, but I think you needed the confusion. That was fucking solid.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of your style.
That was
story.
sick.
It's kind of
like creepy, but not. You don't know what ever happens, and like
and you're like, are they magic? Or are they just weird?
Yeah, you can never tell. But that's really some island shit where they're like, fuck it, they're like, don't tell anyone. We're gonna fuck with them.
Yeah.
That's some creepy shit. I love that. What's the person again? I'm gonna write this down.
Yasutaka Tsutsui. There's one other collection that they have of his.
I'm gonna try to get the actual book if I can find it online.
This one's good. I mean, you can borrow it if you want to.
I would like to, but I have so many that I'm reading right now. You know what I mean? Like,
this one's short stories though. So
then I might. Yeah,
they're good.
That's good.
To just hit.
Do we have time to do more books, or I don't want to keep you?
We'll probably close this one out.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that sounds
thank
good.
everybody for listening.
Thank you.